Hello everyone, welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Thursday, 26 March 2026, and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Badawi, and for today's headlines, Emaar say that they are not worried by what is going on in Iran. OpenAI is eyeing a $10 billion raise, and you would not believe who is backing them this time once again. And QIA, Qatar Investment Authority, is eyeing a stake in Golden Goose. Majid, it's so lovely. We are finally back
together
in the show together. This is a big moment. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Honestly, I'm good. I'm loving the scene right now in Dubai. It is so calm. There is no traffic. If you must know, I'm somebody who lives far. And I now get to places in 28 minutes, and it's great. It's amazing.
Traffic has been one of the upsides of this thing, but obviously there's a lot going on. There's everything. There's multiple statements from everyone who is involved, and by everyone we mean obviously Iran, US, President Trump himself. And there is one more very important part in this, and that's the American media. They keep saying, oh, this is involved, that is involved. There's very interestingly, throughout the last week, it was a New York Times report where they were saying that, oh, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, he's been pushing America to finish off Iran. That's the words that they're using.
I saw a report from Arab News that it is completely not true.
So eventually, Saudi Arabia had to come out and say that, why? Why would you do this? We haven't said it. We haven't said it in a public statement. We haven't called Mr. Trump about this. So they denied everything. And it doesn't make sense, obviously, for Saudi or UAE or any Middle Eastern country. Right now, we are all Iran's neighbors. We are getting the load of all the missiles and the drones and whatever not in our region. Why would we want this war to continue or go further? And that is one of the reasons that the Gulf countries haven't gone on an offense. They are in defensive position, and they are like, we will not get dragged into this war, which was started by America and Israel by attacking a sovereign land of Iran, which is against any illegal laws, any UN charter. It's against everything that the world, the UN, America even itself stands for. And then this happened. So it's very interesting all of this is happening.
It is, and I think even much more so than that, just to build on what you're saying, Majid, the Financial Times, I believe it was yesterday, they released this article. Look at this right here. War empties Dubai's malls and rattles struggling luxury industry. I was literally in the mall over the weekend, by the way.
Every time I see X or Instagram, I laughed.
It was packed. It was well and truly packed. It was well and truly packed. And I actually went to watch the new film with Ryan Gosling, Project Hail Mary. They're kind of saying that it's like an interstellar type. If you don't like sci-fi, I really don't recommend it. I even napped. No, seriously, Majid, I wept, I slept, I woke up, and that movie is still playing. Wow. I was tired, but beside the point. Imagine, it was in IMAX. Majid, the entire cinema, not a single seat was empty. And you're telling me that the malls don't have people. What are you talking about? And people are shopping. They're at Parker's. They're at somewhere. They're not... And if you know, these are like the hot spots in Dubai that are not, I would not necessarily say that they're cheap. So I think that's interesting. But even much more than that, right now I'm undertaking research on mega projects. And, just to pique my interest, I went back in time. Majid, look how crazy these headlines are, okay? This is from 2019 from The Telegraph. The architectural wonders of Dubai that never happened. Taller, in fact, that the Burj Khalifa, the highest structure in Dubai, the exact height has not been revealed. This is crazy.
Everyone knows the exact height.
They've always been doing this. No, but even this one's from 2010 from The Guardian. Mystery as Burj Khalifa, world's tallest building, shuts to public. Excuse me. No, this is actually crazy. People are coming out and saying these statements of, you are specifically going after Dubai and going after their reputation. It is completely true. And it's crazy to me. I was telling Rich this, Majid, my family, they were actually people who survived a war. They left by buses, they went through Egypt from Sudan. And, I was speaking to them and I was like, to my grannies, I'm like, guys, at first, when it first began, how are you feeling? And they're like, yo, we're okay. They were like, you should go back to Sudan and see how it all unfolded.
Yeah.
Nobody is sending you a message. And it's like, even just when you think of the coverage, I would say I know more about the war in Sudan than most journalists do, or even the entirety of the world does. But just the difference in coverage, it's so unjust.
See, I would quote the recent Bloomberg report. It's very interesting, and it gave us an insight how media angles everything to what they serve. The New York Post, which is part of Rupert Murdoch's empire, and we saw Bloomberg saying that internally, Rupert Murdoch, Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, all of them privately pressed Mr. Trump, not publicly, not in meetings. They went one-on-one in private rooms, in private quarters, and pushed Mr. Trump to start this war on Iran, which was uncalled for. There is no reason for it. Even the Senate committee is hearing today. I was reading yesterday. It's very interesting that today's Senate committee is hearing from Marco Rubio or one of the people who are like the front faces of Trump's administration, Steve Witkoff, why there was a need to go into this war. There's been statements by a lot of senators, a lot of MPs, a lot of people who have been questioned by the Senate committee that why did you think that Iran was going to attack you? What was so urgent that you randomly one day woke up and attacked them? Show us the reason, show us the documents, show us your research. No one has been able to show them. Everyone is saying, it's the same rhetoric that we've been hearing for like 20, 30 years from Israel, from America, that, they'll develop a nuclear weapon. Where is the nuclear weapon, if there is something like that? Second most important point, if you thought that they were going to attack you, you should have some intel, right? Share it with the Senate Standing Committee in the US. Share it with the people who actually care about it. Don't show it to us. Go in a closed room. Go for Shatem rules. Go for any kind of rules. Sit in a room and show it to them. And if they say, yeah, there was a reason, we will agree with it. Even in the US, there is a discomfort that they went into this war only on the saying of some people. One of them, the most widely named by everyone apart from the Western media, is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And they're saying that it's an Israeli war that America is fighting. And who is getting affected in all of this? The Gulf neighbors of Iran. Because for so many decades, we hosted US bases, we helped them set up here, we had friendly, cordial relations with them. UAE committed $1.4 trillion over the next 10 years. Saudi Arabia committed $600 billion for the next 4 years, said they would love to increase it to $1 trillion. Qatar made a $500-ish billion deal, where like $300-ish was only for aircrafts. We are spending money to be better friends with you, and then you put us in harm's way. And then this is like on record, it's not even me quoting Mr. Trump, it's him on video saying that, we didn't know about this like one thing. We didn't do contingency planning. The world's best army, the world's best military force didn't know that if they attacked Iran, they would attack Gulf neighbors also. And he was like, we didn't know that. But even if we did, we didn't care. That's his exact words, like, I wouldn't care. So you have to understand that Gulf nations are very resilient. These 10, 20 years, last 10, 20 years, they have been preparing for every adversity.
Majid, I think much more than resilience, just to add on to what you're saying, there is something extremely important that we need to put into context. When you look at 3 cities, off the top of my head that I can think about that are very big in the world, that so many people from all over the world travel to, I can think of New York, London, and Dubai, has 100% become a part of that, the big 3. And when you think about it, Dubai, I believe it was, the city, it was formalized in 1833 by the Al Maktoum family, and it was a fishing settlement. 1833. We are comparing it, the media is comparing it to cities like London and New York that have been around. I think for London, I'm pretty sure. I think that's
minimum
almost
200-year history.
I believe for London, it's almost 2,000 years, and for a city like New York, over 400 years. Look at that! Look at that scale. What would have people done back in the day if after the September 11 attacks, everyone was like, okay, I'm never visiting New York anymore. I'm not going to the World Trade Center. Right? But then what happened? Right after that huge, colossal event, the media headlines weren't, New York is not busy anymore, there is nobody there. It was attack the Muslims.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And not just that, from what I know about New York, at some point, I think in the 1920s, they had like this Wall Street bombing. I think someone put explosives in a horse.
Yeah.
My point in bringing back these events is to say, this is how cities are built, and this is how cities progress. It's extremely unjust to already set such a harsh criteria against a city like Dubai that, even though it has not existed as long as New York and London, has somehow done better than them, has somehow attracted their tax exiles that they love to refer to, and you have all these millionaires and billionaires that are coming back here. And you know what I think is even more hilarious, Majid? I'm actually hearing about some millionaires who are going back home. And then they're like, okay, we're going to start taxing you. And they came right back.
Yeah.
And they're like, it is not worth the price for me. So what I'm really trying to say is that this is how magnificent cities are built.
Yeah.
To polish, you have to polish something, and things have to keep moving. And that's exactly how it happens. And with Dubai, people always ask, how come we don't have roads like London? Because in London, the infrastructure is completely different than here. You can take the tram, you can get in the car, and you can walk. A lot of people do a lot of walking. In Dubai, I would say it's a bit difficult to walk. And
it's the different weather also now. They are cloudy throughout the
so
year,
true.
it's rains
but
and all
I think
that.
it's how the city was built, Majid, that they suddenly had this oil boom, all of this money, and they built all of these buildings immediately. They invested into infrastructure, and that is why the roads are the way they are. It is a small city. They still have years to come. So I think it's just the perspective. Man, there's such haters. There's such haters.
Have you played darts or like some shooting game where you have to aim at a thing?
No, but have you?
Yeah. Easiest thing to do is aim at the bigger target. So right now, Dubai is the bigger target, or UAE, or the Middle Eastern countries, because they were attracting talent, they were attracting capital, they were attracting literally everything good from the world. And that's how the world works. Everyone, whenever there is a region which is on the rise, everyone attracts towards it. That's why we're saying that it's the gravitational pull of, be it talent, safety, whatever, that is pulling them here. Now, the easiest target is them. Attacking them through Western media, whatever they're doing, it's the easiest target. It's the biggest target right in front of you. That is why we see so much negative coverage of, the FT article, I saw it on X, and whenever I see a headline, Dubai is this, Dubai is empty, Dubai is, and just send a person and let him roam around on the road, and he'll see it's not empty. There's people living here.
They have people here. Yesterday we published this video on our Smashi Business Instagram of Isa Kazim.
Yeah.
And essentially what he was saying is that for people who are saying, we don't like Dubai, we're not interested, it's just a desert. Imagine the kind of kindness that they have. That would not be me. Of, you know what? Let's invite them. Let's give them an itinerary. Let them come visit the country and then give their own opinion. The fact that, Dubai has kind of set up that kind of media legislation in place for people to find out about the city. I mean, if I go on the internet, I'm like, I don't like New York. Ain't nobody inviting me. Yeah. I'm not going there,
right? Yeah.
Nobody's inviting me. So I think their generosity, it really does speak for itself.
To be honest, my whole conclusion of this would be that we have 180 plus nationalities living here. They've been living here, it's like the third or fourth generations now growing up here, some of them. They have seen the city, they have experienced the city through generations. They have seen the safety, security, everything. They know whatever is there will be solved because this is how the country works. They don't leave a problem on the road to solve itself. Even a small ditch, it gets fixed in a day. This is a bigger problem. We understand it's not a good situation, but we 100% know that they are doing something about it. It's not a feeling of hopelessness that, we don't know what the leaders are going to do about this and if they are going to solve a problem. For us, the question is, when are they going to solve the problem? And our hope is it happens as soon as possible. And that is exactly the wishes of the leadership. They wanted to calm down and all the things to stop as soon as possible. The problem what I see, and it's a funny, quirky statement, I'm giving this before I say it, that I was reading comments. I love reading comments nowadays because there's so many discussions that happen in the comments. Actually, there's so many stories in the comments. And there were a few foreigners. There's a British journalist in UAE. He's making videos about how the British media and politicians are against the people who are now moving back, just temporarily, full-time, permanent, no matter what. But they are facing a backlash in the UK from politicians. General public, it's fine. From politicians that, oh, you ran away from taxes and now you're coming back for safety. And the comment section was very interesting, where a lot of people were writing that the people who are actually complaining by sitting in the UK, they were never allowed to do a job or a business in Dubai. So they were jealous of the people moving to such a safe...
and they failed. And they could not survive the market.
So there is some sort of jealousy involved. There's some sort of... opinion involved. It's not a fact that these Western outlets are reporting.
Yeah.
They have a bias where they couldn't make it, and the people who made it, they're kind of jealous of them. That, let's say jealousy, I don't have a better word for it, to be honest.
Don't you think that perhaps this is a systematic issue in the newsrooms? Because from what I've been reading, I see this across different racial groups. I see this in South Asians. I see this in Africans particularly, of them saying, in the UK, we left the newsrooms because there is a lack of diversity. And that lack of diversity comes in two parts. Firstly, they're not allowed to present themselves in the way that they would like to. For example, having your nappy hair out on television, your curly hair. The fact that I can wear whatever I want on the Smashi business show, well, not whatever I want, but you know what I mean. And I can have my curly hair out. That is a big thing. And secondly, it's the fact that they're reporting within the newsroom itself. A lot of journalists have expressed unhappiness, and therefore, what have they done? They've left those newsrooms, and I think that's and I always think of that story of Jane Arif, the Iraqi chief for the New York Times in Iraq, and the situation was kind of like he said, she said, and what it essentially was is she violated their financial policy, and it was by essentially making sure that the Iraqi writers were being paid fair wages. This is from what I'm collecting from this story. And then they pushed her out. So this is what I mean. You can't even have people like you, Majid, people like me, people who look like us, who are from our region, who are from Pakistan, India, Sudan, who can actually tell, a fair perspective of what's happening. Like I always think of Sudan, and I think of this great journalist. Her name is Yusra Bagir, I believe, and she works for Sky News, and she does a great job at reporting what's happening in Sudan. And for these journalists, like I promise you, there is enough news to go around.
Yeah.
Like trust me, come have a chat with me. Neighbors stealing people's clothes and homes in Sudan. Report. Like, you can go for so much. You really can. And they're picking up on really such nonsensical stuff that is not the real situation on ground.
But the first story of the day is very interesting. Iran has started charging transit fee. Oh, this is the one that we're doing? No?
Oops, sorry about that. Emaar right now is not worried by the Iran war impact. Essentially, they had their annual board meeting, Majid, where they came and discussed everything. And the big story is the fact that they're going to be giving dividends 100%. So the chairman, Jamal bin Thania, made the comments during the company's annual general meeting, according to AGBI. So what he essentially said was, we believe these erosions are quite temporary. With any geopolitical conflict, either in this region or worldwide, we believe a strong rebound will follow it. And I think that this is really exciting news.
The interesting part is Mr. Al-Abbar, at the I think it was the second day of war or third day, Sunday or Monday, when Mr. Al-Abbar was the first one who gave an interview to CNBC. I forgot the journalist's name, very bullish on the UAE scene. And he said that I'm not worried. Remember Mr. Al-Abbar in that video? And it was a very nice video of him helping calm down. He is the bellwether stock on DFM, his company Emaar, and he is the bellwether person, to be honest, for every property consultant, real estate agent, every property developer in the country. And if he came out on the very second or third day of war and he was like, I'm not worried about the situation because we have the fundamentals, we have the basics of the UAE property, and in specific, when he was talking about the Dubai property scene, is like we have the fundamentals right, so we don't need to worry about small things which happen. Even if the thing goes on, the whole attacks by Iran on their Gulf neighbors go on, the property scene may see a small dip, which is normal, which is actually, if we didn't see a fall, then that would be a problem. But we see a small dip. But right now, we reported a Better Homes report. Better Homes is one of the biggest consultancy agencies when it comes to housing. You can buy, rent, whatever from them. They did a report. There are like 38% more inquiries into Dubai property. So if people are inquiring about it, that means they want to know what's happening. At least there is curiosity there. Obviously, they didn't talk about the buying or selling or the transaction data, but they said that people are more interested. So it's done what Dubai's good marketing was able to do, but not at the extent. It increased the number of inquiries. So people are now actually interested. I think a lot of those inquiries would be about, oh, is this 1 million dirham or dollar 1 BHK now at 900? Can I buy it for cheap and then make some money out of it? Obviously, those would be the inquiries. But that's actually good market for Dubai property. It's a good way of keeping the agents who are thinking about it, what will happen, how will it happen, to keep them busy in this time where we've been into war for nearly a month now.
But I also think, Majid, I think it's quite interesting the fact that they're going to give 100% dividends,
Yeah.
8 billion dirhams, $2.4 billion. And I think that is a part of, firstly, showing that the company is healthy and that things are evolving and moving along. But secondly, I think that is most definitely to reassure the stakeholders who have probably had a bit of a panic themselves. And I think what's interesting is that AGPI reported that during the 40-minute annual board meeting, the Iran war was only mentioned once. Well, honestly, I would call it the U.S.-Israel war on Iran, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But it was only mentioned once, so I think that's exciting. And not just that, the group has had great results during 2025. I believe that they reported like a 40% year-on-year increase. They did quite great, really. I think it was $13 billion in revenue, so about 40 billion dirhams. So, you know, Emaar is quite expansive, and we're going to see it evolving more.
Yeah.
Don't they have that mall set up that they're going to be building soon?
It's an exhibition center right near downtown where they're building that. Extension of the Dubai Mall is happening, and yes, there's the whole exhibition center will have an additional part where there will be a mall. They are building a lot. Again, we don't want to sound like people who are like overly optimistic and telling you, oh no, everything is fine.
But you have to be overly optimistic.
We are. I'm just saying that we have seen this Western narrative that, oh no, these guys are getting paid to do this stuff. No, we're not. First of all, but where is my $8,000? That should be the question.
Would love to be.
Right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we would love to get paid, but genuinely sitting in the city and talking about it, we know that some things will go down. Share price, the last high was at around 16 dirhams. This is in dirhams. Yeah, 16 dirhams per share on DFM for Emaar. It went down to 10, but it's recovered. It's recovered to nearly 13 now, so it's half recovered. Now, post-dividend, obviously, the share price always falls because they take a big chunk of money and they distribute it into the people. So it's now down to 12 again, but it will rise. A lot of people were having this discussion on social media as well, that is it a good time, great time to enter these stocks, because these are like legendary stocks, legacy stocks, again, not financial advice, but these are the stocks that are built on the prosperity of Dubai. And Dubai, we know in the next 10 years, it's not going anywhere. It is going to be the hub. Abu Dhabi, we know it is going to be the hub. So when you go and invest into these stocks, they are at a premium, usually 16, 17, but they came down. It was a good buying opportunity according to a lot of people, a lot of experts, and they have made half a return at least.
You know, Majid, a lot of people have taken this war most definitely as an opportunity to build wealth.
Yeah.
From what I know is that I did go to the gold souk, and so have my friends and family. Majid, the
buy
gold
gold?
coins
Yeah.
were sold out.
Yeah.
They're all gone. They're all gone. Even if you go to your dealer, he does not have any. It's too late, and the prices are going back up.
Yeah, the thing with gold is it's a safe haven, obviously, for whenever these situations happen. Gold is always out of stock. Silver is one of the commodity that is out of stock. Oil is going up. Stock market wise, I'll tell you something. I saw it throughout the month. I was really interested because whenever Trump says anything, the stock market either goes down or it jumps up crazy. In the last 2-3 days, even the stocks have gone crazily up and crazily down. So whenever it goes down, it's a good buying opportunity. Again, not financial advice. Don't buy it because I'm saying it, but it's the general economic thesis that whenever something goes down and you know that the company has good financials, Meta, Tesla, the big names, those are the tech stocks. But apart from that, there's so many other stocks that you can always go into. But again, when it goes down, buy it. When it goes up, sell it. Usually in 1 year, these opportunities, these very big opportunities of 10%, 20% jumps come at least 3 or 4 times a year. That is what the consensus from the stock market is. That is what S&P 500, Dow, all these big US equities giants, they give you 4 to 3 opportunities in a year. This year alone, January to March, I personally have seen at least 11 opportunities where the stock markets dipped like crazy, 10-20% downfalls, 1% overall downfall, 2% overall downfall.
11 events that I've missed. I know that you guys are thinking the same thing.
If you haven't learned trading, just learn the basics and do very, very basic level trading. Don't go into options, futures, ETFs. Just do basic trading. It's a good way to save money. Again, not financial advice, have to say it. But it's a skill which you don't need to go to university to. It's just basic. It's basic like I buy lemons for $10 and sell it for $12. You just need to do a lot of research in the companies. The safest way is go for dividend stocks. Emaar is a dividend stock. We're talking about the story dividend stock. OpenAI is the next story. They are also going for an IPO, nearly $1 trillion IPO. But they're nearing a deal to raise about $10 billion again from venture investors. According to people familiar with the matter, the round would bring total funding from its latest raise to roughly $120 billion. And that's good for the investors. They love money.
But this is where it gets really interesting. It is Abu Dhabi-backed MGX and Katoa Management and Thrive Capital, which are expected to participate in the round. Once again, Middle Eastern money, which would value the company at $730 billion, excluding the new capital. Now, the investors declined to comment, and OpenAI has also not issued an official statement.
But the fundraising builds on OpenAI's previously announced $110 billion round backed by Amazon, Nvidia, SoftBank. The company has indicated it would seek additional capital from venture investors before completing the broader funding cycle.
Now, the scale of the raise highlights intensifying competition in artificial intelligence as companies race to secure capital for infrastructure, talent, and model development. Now, OpenAI remains at the center of this investment wave, drawing support from both strategic and financial investors.
Meanwhile, rival Anthropic, Claude, their chatbot recently raised $30 billion at $380 billion valuation, with MGX co-leading that round. The parallel funding activity signals sustained momentum in AI investment as global players compete to shape the next phase of the technology's development.
Interesting. We've heard reports of him traveling here before to court investors and meeting with His Highness.
And you saw him wear a cap and become a doctor here. Also.
Literally, crazy. I believe the Mohammed bin Zayed Artificial Intelligence University, and you even had His Highness Prince Khalid there, Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince, and Khaldoon al-Mubarak. But, you know, from what I'm seeing here is that, man, this is crazy. How are you going to tarnish a country's reputation, but always come to it for money?
Yeah. What I've realized is, and I've read and seen through reports and everything, it's nearly $1 billion per month to run these LLMs, the big ones, the big giants. So you can call ChatGPT, you can call Claude into it. You can add Perplexity into it. Perplexity, I think, would be on a lower level, $600-700 million, whereas they burn a lot of energy, they go through a lot of data. Also, when you say please or thank you only, they still run through a lot of water and all of that. So stop saying that to your chat GPTs or your Claudes if you want to save money, energy, and water. But all of this is happening in the world. The only fear that I think we forgot between all this, Iran's attacks on us and UAE and Saudi and in the Middle Eastern countries, is AI bubble. Everyone was talking about it at the start of the year and in the first 2 months nearly before all of this started. But the AI bubble is still being talked about. NVIDIA recently, Jensen Huang was at one of NVIDIA's conference and he said very clearly that AGI has been achieved. And I looked at the story and I was like, how is he saying that? Because AGI is average general intelligence, where now LLMs can match your and my brain capacity. I was like, no, I don't think so. But he's Jensen Huang, he's the head of NVIDIA. He's saying that at least on lab level, without testing it out with public, AGI has been achieved. It's a big claim to make. I don't know if Sam Altman will back it or all the big people, Elon Musk, will back this claim. But we have to see. But AI bubble is being talked about a lot. The problem is that data centers in the world are now under scrutiny again. We saw Amazon Web Services being attacked in Dubai and Bahrain. Amazon has 3 data centers in Dubai. 2 of them were affected, back on again, thankfully. So no Amazon Web Services are being disrupted now. But the Bahrain one, there's only 1 data center there. It got affected. They put it back up and they started running it, but then it was struck with a drone again and it went back offline again. So it's a question of them coming to this region. The promise was give and take. It was like, we come to you, we take money from you, but you build data centers and eventually then we'll give that money to you to rent out the space. It was a give and take solution. Now they're questioning it, but to be honest, still, even now with everything happening, which is the best, optimal, efficient place to build data centers? It is this place, because we have so much solar energy which can be used to run those data centers. Saudi Arabia is full of deserts and deserts where you can plant those solar panels and run your data centers. UAE has a lot of it also.
I think what's also really interesting is that I think for the Gulf, the reason why they're calling what is happening economic terrorism is because of the fact that, from what we know, there have been desalination plants that have been attacked in Iran and Bahrain. I'm not too sure about the United Arab Emirates. Not here,
thankfully, for now.
The reports on the UAE are pretty murky, but I think it's that fact of they're attacking the desalination plants, and you need like 2 million liters per day for a data center. And I think that exactly is where the problem lies. And I think for me, Majid, with this entire conflict that is going on, I think it's interesting how things move, because I thought I would be somebody who'd be interested in reporting in war, but quite honestly, I don't think that I am. And I think that it's overshadowed such great stories that have happened. Like, I think for me, the crazy one was the fact that, and Majid sent this in, and when I read it, I was flabbergasted. And it was that IMI, if you don't know IMI, it's like this media vehicle in Abu Dhabi, and they own Sky News Arabia that is based here, and they own the National, and they own the studio that produced, it's under their portfolio. It's under a subsidiary, I believe, IMI, Redbird Capital, another company that's under them, All 3 Media, and another company that is also under them. But from what I know is that they produced the Oscar-winning film called, is it Hamlet or Hamnet?
Hamnet.
Yes, and the film is essentially about, I think, William Shakespeare and his wife Agatha giving birth to their son.
It's a play on Hamlet.
It's interesting, and I think it's the fact that you have films like that are being funded by the UAE, and they're driven forward, and we see them winning these Oscars, and you have Paul Mescal there. He's a great actor, but I think it's that, and it's the fact that they've done really well for themselves, and instead of IMI being celebrated for that, what are we hearing? That Sky News Arabia is apparently shutting down over close links to Sudan, when in fact these are false claims. They have confirmed this. Former Sky News Arabia general manager has come and said that this is due to a contract expiring. And honestly, Majid, it would not make sense, because think of it like this. Right now, all the hub of news in the world is centered, directed towards the Middle East. If anything, it is why would they? Why would the UK close Sky News Arabia now?
Yeah.
That does not make sense. This is like the hot spot of telling news. So
Yeah,
it's
just a way of if you can't find a way to talk about economy, find a way to talk about media business. If you can't find a way to talk about media business, find a way to talk about something else. It's just they are jumping hoops and jumping hurdles and trying to find that next story which gets them reach and page views and all of that. Even though all of that is dead, websites are dead. It's a consensus by a lot of experts that websites will die eventually, and it's going to. Even now, Google has killed its search itself. It has cannibalized on its own product, which was its biggest selling product throughout.
cannibalized. That
Yeah.
is so interesting.
What we would do in our time, like 10 years ago, was put up a website, try to catalog it on Google search. So as soon as someone looked for a keyword, our website will pop up in the top list, right? That was SEO. And then we would pay to buy those keywords, and then search engine monetization, that was SEM. We would pay Google to put our website up top. Now they put up their own Google AI Gemini at the top. So they cannibalize on their own product. They now know that website, if they're doing SEM, we can't put them on the top. We will put our Google AI's answer on the top. So it's kind of like it's right in front of you that these things are changing, and some products of these big companies, big tech giants, they're dying. So yeah, stop doing that.
Finally, just to end the show on a
Yeah.
positive note, Qatar Investment Authority is preparing to acquire a roughly 10% stake in Italian sneaker maker Golden Goose, according to Corriere della Sera, signaling continued sovereign wealth interest in global luxury assets.
The potential investment would value Golden Goose at just over 2.5 billion euros, implying a stake worth about 250 million euros. The move follows strong investor demand for premium fashion brands with global growth potential.
Now, QIA is expected to invest alongside HSG, formerly Sequoia Capital China,
Yeah.
as well as Temasek and Permira, which retained a minority stake after selling a majority holding to HSG in December.
And Golden Goose reported revenue of 734 million euros in 2025, with direct-to-consumer sales rising 21% year-on-year. Adjusted EBITDA was 248.3 billion euros.
Now, the company operates 232 stores globally as luxury groups continue to expand their retail footprints while attempting to attract institutional investors like Qatar Investment Authority. I think that this is a great move. I think that in recent years, in fact, Golden Goose has kind of, although I'm not a fan, not a fan.
I've never bought
I'm
them,
so sorry.
but yeah.
For saying I'm not a fan, will somebody maybe send me some shoes? But beside the point, I'm not a fan because they look naturally dirty.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, for me that doesn't make sense. But on some people, they look so good.
It's like the ripped jeans.
Right.
Like, why would you wear? Like,
literally match it. And I've noticed that Golden Goose has kind of become this sign of wealth.
Yeah.
You'll notice that for wealthy people, this is kind of like that new shoe.
New
So I
trend.
think that this is a great step for Qatar Investment Authority. Once again, we are seeing there is so much activity.
Yeah.
The sovereign wealth funds are not stopping. MGX is once again a part of this round with OpenAI. When we just recently saw that they were investing in Anthropic, we're definitely seeing momentum building up. And
Yeah.
that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description. Meanwhile, in the wake of developments in the region, we hope everyone stays safe at this critical moment. It is essential to remain united and follow guidance issued by official authorities from your country.
this has been a Smashi Business Show, Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to all the 30,000 people who downloaded our shows across the Augustus Media profiles. Make this possible if you're one of them. We appreciate you. Have a great, great, great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.